Going over to the cultural part podcast of Ben Shapiro's possible downfall as he starts to lose subscribers. This is after he kind of plateaued last year with nearly 0 additional subscribers. Now, we're going to first look at Social Blade and then a couple of his posts recently. And again, in terms of his total audience, it hasn't gone down dramatically at all. But again, it has gone down. In the past 30 days, Ben Shapiro has lost 20,000 subscribers. And you can see here, all started around November. Oh, yeah, mid-November. Interesting. What was that? What was he doing recently that was controversial? Yes. He vehemently really does not like Nick Fuentes, who's, again, very much far right and making some very bombastic political as well as cultural comments lately. And I don't agree with what Nick Fuentes is saying. However, Ben Shapiro used to be, okay, guys, I'm Birch Gold is going to sponsor this advertisement because, of course, we have to have Birch Gold. Also, ExpressVPN. Don't look into who owns ExpressVPN, okay, guys? And about free speech, I'll debate anyone. That's what I do. With facts and logic and reason. Own the left, which, to Ben's credit, for years, he was known for debating everyone and anyone and everyone, especially on college campuses. And turns out, yeah, he will not do that. Now he's actually roasting Tucker Carlson. So Ben Shapiro is very much against Tucker Carlson as well as Nick Fuentes. Who, again, those two have been skyrocketing popularity, especially the past 12 months. I would say exponentially past 3 months, as Nick Fuentes has gone on multiple interviews, including Patrick Bet-David's Valuetainment podcast, as well as Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. He's been making the rounds on social media. And Ben Shapiro, turns out, years ago, had blacklisted and basically ostracized Nick from any opportunity in the media industry with his company, The Daily Wire, even allegedly using resources that The Daily Wire allegedly hates, like Media Matters, which, yeah, using your greatest enemy against someone like that. And Ben's never denied those things. Neither Jeremy Boring, former co-CEO of The Daily Wire. And here you can see, again, on average, Ben Shapiro's losing about 667 subscribers per day. Weekly average down 10,000. Past 14 days, 10,000. In terms of his views, still getting a bunch of views. But yeah, you look at some of these statistics here. Let's see here. There we go. Scrolling down more and more. And again, after the political season, again, Daily Wire is very much a political podcast. That's where Ben Shapiro is best known for his political commentary. So after the election, the views went down for nearly everyone. There's a couple outliers like Tim Pool, Timcast RL has gone up a little bit, but it makes sense that views go down after big election. But Ben Shapiro, yeah, see all these gain views starting to go down more and more, and the subscribers, yeah, they're again, still has 7.2 million. What's this? What's his total? Yeah, 7.2 million subscribers. He's not going to go out of business anytime soon. Now, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of look at a couple of his comments. This is kind of a little while back. This is when he actually said, what was he talking about? Well, the shutdowns. And all of the comments are vehemently against Ben Shapiro. So, I mean, look at all these. Got a meme from Ross from Friends saying, get a load of this goy. There's another one. Ozzy has a picture of Nick Fuentes slapping Ben Shapiro, getting 15 likes. Bigfoot says on today's show, Ben Shapiro explains why American kids don't deserve a hometown to grow a family in, but Israel needs more of your money to protect the homeland for Jewish people, getting 18 likes. And even on YouTube, which again, there's Ben Shapiro's virality in terms of where most people watch him, he's very much getting ratioed. Now, this is the video of him, talking about Tucker Carlson.
Hey, folks.
And here, again, they got a lot of views, almost 1 million views. And about 40,000 likes. So, not the best ratio, but that's a lot of likes.
I want to do something.
Let's, first minute here, list on Ben Shapiro. ExpressVPN, which, yeah.
Hey, folks, I want to do something different on today's show. We're going to cover...
He is so mad. I think it's the first time in 10 years he did not do an ad read. That's how viscerally, viciously irate Ben Shapiro is about Tucker Carlson, as well as Nick Fuentes.
One topic in depth. That topic is, I think, the most important thing happening in the country. It was a hot topic last week, but I wanted to take some time to really gather my thoughts and speak on it in coherent fashion, holistic fashion. That topic is the fragmentation of the political right. That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They call themselves the Groypers. They are white supremacists. They hate women, Jews, Hindus, many types of Christians, brown people of a wide variety of backgrounds, blacks, America's foreign policy, and America's Constitution. They admire Hitler and Stalin.
Wait, hold up. America's foreign policy. Why is it bad to be against that? I would venture to say most Americans aren't happy with our money going to nearly every other country and every other government and every other people on the planet that seemingly accept the taxpayers. why is it a bad thing against America's current foreign policy?
And that splinter faction is now being facilitated and normalized within the mainstream Republican Party. The main agent in that normalization is Tucker Carlson, who is an intellectual coward, a dishonest interlocutor, and a terrible friend. And Tucker Carlson last week was aided, abetted, celebrated.
Can't help but see some parallels between Ben Shapiro throwing another former friend under the bus like Candace Owens. Which again, you can always disagree with your friends behind closed doors, kind of give them your 2 cents or 3 cents about what your thoughts, what they're doing. But yeah, critiquing your friend in public and making money off those videos, yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, maybe you just say I don't agree with what they're doing, but I still believe in free speech. Everyone deserves. Oh, I don't think
for normalizing Nazism within the Republican Party by the mainstay organization of the traditional right, the Heritage Foundation. Now, before we explain what's been happening,
Shapiro is irate. The Heritage Foundation said, "We don't care what Tucker Carlson says. We believe in free speech for everyone of all opinions," which is a very rare sentiment to have these days. Again, Ben Shapiro's whole career was saying how important the First Amendment was, how everyone, even the most disgusting ideas, should be allowed to speak so we could have a cordial conversation and prove them wrong with facts, logic, and reason. And yet, that doesn't seem to be Ben Shapiro's real sentiment, unfortunately.
Let's make one thing clear. This is not about free speech or cancellation. It was never about free speech or cancellation.
Why did you get him blacklisted from all the industry? Again, I think what Nick Fuentes says is disgusting. But I thought you pretended to be the vanguard of free speech for decades.
Speech has a definition: the right to speak free of governmental coercion. I believe in it, of course. I've always defended it. Criticism of bad speech.
Have you now? No, absolutely has not.
Is in fact just a form of free speech. Cancellation also has a definition: the banning of particular people, including people like Nick Fuentes, from platforms like X or Facebook. I believe that Nick Fuentes is odious and despicable, but I've never called for his cancellation. And in fact, I've called for his restoration to those services, despite the fact that I think he's odious and despicable. It is not cancellation to draw moral lines between viewpoints. In fact, we used to call that one of the key aspects of conservatism. It is not cancellation to refuse to signal boost Hitler's supporters like Nick Fuentes. It is not cancellation to criticize Tucker Carlson for rhetorically fluffing Nick Fuentes and other anti-American crackpots.
I mean, you're also calling him a bad friend. Not just... How did Tucker Carlson throw you under the bus, Ben?
It's not cancellation if you urge others to stop promoting those who rhetorically fluff Nazi apologists. Those are all elements of free speech.
Oh.
And anyone who says differently is lying to you, and lying for the most cynical reasons to misdirect from their own defense of those Nazi apologists and their promoters. The issue here isn't that Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on his show last week. He has every right to do that, of course. The issue here is that Tucker Carlson decided to normalize and fluff Nick Fuentes.
How dare he platform him? How dare he platform him? How dare you give him a stage to talk? And again, it's about 41 minutes. Not going to review the whole thing, obviously. But again, there's an instance where you can talk about any other topic, any other person. Again, the Daily Wire used to be all about, everyone deserves, free speech. Everyone deserves the opportunity to speak so that you can prove it wrong. And again, I think if Ben Shapiro were to debate Nick Fuentes, he'd probably win him, or, he'd probably win the debate on some of the points and some of the topics. And yeah, again, the Daily Wire is very much famous for saying, oh yeah, we have an Overton window, which, yes, this is supposed to be me having a little symbol of the window, imaginary window I'm holding. It's very, very small. It's like a dollhouse. But nevertheless, Candace Owen was fired for saying Christ was king, apparently. And then she started to critique Israel. And Ben Shapiro, they famously said, oh yeah, it's not, when other people cancel people, fire people for their speech, it's different. When we do it, we have an Overton window at the Daily Wire. If you say anything outside of that, well, we're going to fire you. And this is one of the first videos where Ben Shapiro in the comments really got mixed results. Again, Ben Shapiro on X and Twitter, ever since this incident, he's mostly getting ratioed. The average person who watches Ben Shapiro's content, however, they're mostly on the YouTube. I venture to say they're more conservative Republicans, more the old school. As you see a huge shift, culturally speaking, as younger viewers seem to be going to other materials like Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes. One of the first comments on the YouTube video right here comes from Aaron Yeager saying, just debate him. He'll gladly do it, getting 21,000 likes. Zachary says, quote, Christ is king, America first, getting 10,000 likes, which again is one of the reasons Candace Owens was fired. She said Christ was king. And then the Daily Wire they said that was anti-Semitic to say Christ is king. Ridiculous, obviously. Camo says, debate him. We're all noticing now, getting 13,000 likes. Faith and Simple Life says, who else is here only for the comments? Getting 324 likes. Quid Downs says, quote, right-wing podcast wars are about to be wild this week, getting 4,000 likes. Rock and Roll Duelith has a America greater than Israel statement. Literally, it's greater than sign used. And that got 3.3 thousand likes. Mason says, Nick is going to go nuclear on Ben tonight, getting 10,000 likes. Arcanus Black says, Tucker Carlson sabotages America by demanding that conservatives be more concerned about America than Israel? Question mark, getting 64 likes. Andrew says, get back to work, Matt Walsh, getting 13,000 likes. Dan Lurker says, you know Ben is serious when there wasn't a single advertisement read in the video, LOL, getting 9.1 thousand likes, which, yes, Ben Shapiro is famous for the ad reads. He is, as Trump would say, Ben Shapiro has more ad reads than anyone else. It's like late night TV. It's mostly advertisements. If you look at the breakdown, the statistics, and how many minutes Ben Shapiro talks about ExpressVPN and Birch Gold and all that kind of stuff, which I think is a little poor taste, but nevertheless, yeah, it's a lot of ad reads. He's the king of ad reads. We also have I Am Kennedy saying Americanism is not globalism, getting 6.8 thousand likes. Jason simply says, no one is buying this anymore. Americans saw Mark Levine at the Republican Jewish Conference saying, we canceled Pat Buchanan. We canceled the Birch Society. This is our house. An outright admission of meddling in policy and trying to control the discourse. 160 likes. The Ace says, America comes before all other countries, getting 6.2 thousand likes. AK Forge, I believe it's Voltaire who has this famous quote, and it says, quote, to see who rules over you, look at who you cannot criticize, getting 1,000 likes. Shane says, went straight to the comments and was not disappointed, getting 5,000 likes. Josh says, I haven't watched Ben Shapiro since December 2020, but I had to see this for myself, getting 3.4 thousand likes. Chris says, Nick turned Ben Shapiro into racial mad-out, getting 201 likes. Also have Vex saying, it's over, little bro, America first, getting 506 likes. AF Jess says, this will be Ben Shapiro's most watched video of the year, getting 2.4 thousand likes, which, yes, it was one of the watch videos of the year. Again, getting nearly 1 million views. Ben's usually getting 500,000 to 600,000 on a good day. Moonstar says, not really here for Ben, just checking for the comments, getting 2.2 thousand likes. The Isaac Fincher says, came here because I heard there was a Nick Fuentes compilation. LMFAO getting 1.4 thousand likes. Let's see. Jonathan says, I love how the comments are filled with wagon gaffs, getting 5.6 thousand likes. Arctic Grumpy says, it's hilarious how a foreign country is dividing a party, getting 1.9 thousand likes. Let's see. So any contrarian statements. Make Mattel Home says, someone said the victim card is expired. It's time for America First, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Virtual Pilgrim says, Ben, quote, Jesus was just some rebel that got killed for his trouble, Shapiro. Getting 2.1 thousand likes, and that was, who was that? That was an interview that Ben Shapiro had with Joe Rogan a couple years ago when Joe Rogan asked him, like, who do you think Jesus Christ was? And Ben Shapiro famously said, well, we think Jesus, he wasn't even a Messiah. He was actually just some rebel who got in trouble for, he got killed for his trouble. Was that the worst Ben Shapiro impression you hear all year? Debatably, but the attempt was made. We also have Broccoli says, debate Nick, Ben, debate Nick Fuentes, just do it, getting 811 likes. Let's see. Hoyt says, when Charlie Kirk was murdered, I was like, y'all not going to like what fills the void for the right, getting 1.5 thousand likes. Lord Epic says, it's crazy how Ben's defiance of free speech ends at the criticism of Israel, getting 1,000 likes. Cody Meyer says, Christ is King, America First, getting 2,000 likes. Zombie Pilgrim says, I love how this episode is just a montage of Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson clips, getting 2.4 thousand likes. Let's see. William says, Ben does sure act like a liberal when he's offended. Oh, the irony, getting 327 likes. Let's see. Bruce says, I'm Dan Crenshaw, getting 1.7 thousand likes. Eve has another famous quote from Ben Shapiro, in which Ben Shapiro said, quote, the existence of the state of Israel is the single greatest guarantor of my loyalty to the United States, frankly. Getting 1.4 thousand likes. Again, a lot more comments saying Ben Shapiro or America First, getting about 4,000 to 5,000 likes apiece. Again, in terms of the comment section, this is the most criticism Ben Shapiro's gotten in years. And again, he's still got 7 million subscribers. Interesting if you look at the ratio of like number of comments, doesn't always seem to add up, but Let me know. Do you think is the Daily Wire in trouble? The whole topic of Israel is completely splitting the Republican Party. I mean, I think it's going to just destroy it in the midterms. It's become such an electric, radioactive topic. It's just splitting people. I was about to say left or right. Yes, down the center of the middle. But yeah, there's the average Daily Wire subscriber. I mean, I used to be years ago, but after a while, I just chose not to renew my subscription. But let me know. Do you know anyone who still subscribes to the Daily Wire? They were one of the fastest growing conservative media companies in the world. I mean, they had almost nearly, I believe, 1 million paid subscribers on their own, actual platform. But yeah, I can't but think their momentum is greatly decreasing. They fired a lot of their top talent. I think Matt Walsh is probably the most favored individual talent at the Daily Wire left these days. And I mean, he gets pretty close to saying not supposed to be in Israel. I mean, Matt Walsh is very much an isolationist from a political perspective and foreign policy. That seems to be the most most deviating opinion at the Daily Wire. And again, Ben Shapiro famously said they have an Overton window. If you deviate too much from that, you're not going to be employed there anymore. Let me know. Do you think the company's in trouble? Let me know your thoughts because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and comments. Great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.